down the best snacks one beat. Oh, I'm your host, Zach Bauer. Welcome to the Structural Snackdown, the podcast where we build your knowledge of steel construction and break down the best snacks one bite and beam at a time. I'm your host, Zach Bauer, and on each episode, we dive into the world of Rayco builders, exploring the ins and outs of commercial and industrial construction. All the while, we taste test and rank some of the best snacks out there. In this episode, we sit down with Mitch Schlingman from Create, Design, Develop Architects to jump in on the snack down and to talk a little bit about construction and architect. Thanks, Mitch, for being here.
Happy to be here.
Well, we're going to start here. We have the snack down that we do on each episode where we focus on 6 snacks and give our opinions, taste test, and at the end, we'll kind of break down what ones we think are the best. Now, today is Little Debbie's, and these are a classic staple, I think, in every kid's life. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to see kind of which ones you remember and which ones you like. And so we're going to start off first here in no particular order other than starting with one of my favorite, the Nutty Buddy. And we're going to open this one of these, and then we'll jump into a question here today. And I'll let you answer the question while I answer this here, or give you the first question here. I'll just kind of begin here. We always want to start each episode, kind of talk a little bit about who you are, what you do, who is Create, and give us a little introduction here for this first one as we jump into Nutty Buddy.
Sure, yeah. So I've been with Create, Design, Develop for about 4 months now. So just came on board here in August, but been in the industry for about 3.5 since I graduated college in 22 from SCSU. At Create, I get to be a project manager, which is pretty exciting. You know, get to see projects from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Through construction, which is always great. You know, there's some places out there where you don't have that ability. So it's pretty great that I get to do that at Create.
Yeah.
And I think the other exciting part is I'm also an architectural designer.
Okay.
So most of my day-to-day job is also doing a lot of the detailing and drawing for the project. So
cool.
Anything from preliminary design to in the depths and the construction development phase of the small detail aspects.
What got you into architecture and doing this?
You know, I always get asked that question, and I don't really have like
a solid
shining moment of like, ta-da. But I transferred from School of Mines, where I was studying mechanical engineering, to SCSU when I switched over to architecture. And I knew I still wanted to be in the design world.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with my mom being a realtor down in Yankton, and so a lot of the times I'd kind of sit down and draw up floor plans, and she would kind of review them for me, and she's like, well, you know, maybe wouldn't put the laundry room off of the guest bathroom or something.
Yeah,
you know, something like that. So I'd be reworking and giving it back to her, and she'd be helping me out. So I think I kind of went back to those thoughts, it kind of got me excited about our architecture, and just really wanting to help grow the places that I love, and learn about new places.
That's awesome. Did you grow up in South Dakota then, it sounds like?
Yeah, originally from Yankton.
Okay.
Went to SSU and then moved to Sioux Falls there shortly after.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump into Nutty Buddy here. And if you want to jump in, you can.
For sure. The 2-pack.
They are.
It's been a minute since I had one of these.
You don't have to eat it all. I tell every guest, you don't have to eat the whole thing, but I'm a peanut butter fanatic. It's good.
It's like a big size, mega size Twix kind of.
Or Kit Kat.
Kit Kat. Yeah, sorry.
Well, the next one here is one that's been debated in our office as being one of the favorites in our office, and this would be the zebra cakes. I know they come out with a Christmas tree one, I was informed of.
That's already went through the whole box already.
Did you already?
Yeah. Guilty.
They have the 2-pack here as well. And we'll jump into zebra cakes here. This next question, let's kind of get into some of the design and construction part of the question here, and kind of bridging the idea of design and construction, kind of those two worlds that come together. your job and your team at Create, you guys kind of emphasize talking about the construction realities. I guess talk a little bit about the mechanisms that you guys have in place to ensure that your designs are immediately actionable and budget aligned. I'm sure there's a lot of spinning plates that come in the midst of that, but like, how do you guys approach that? What are the things you guys have in place to kind of work through that?
For sure. Yeah, I think a big one is obviously having an early cost awareness of the type of construction that we're possibly looking at, or the client may think they want, but then learning more about the overall building and learning what actually makes sense. Maybe it makes sense to, instead of a giant precast building, maybe it's a metal building. Instead of all steel metal frame construction, maybe it's wood, or vice versa. So just being conscious of that and the cost of different construction types can definitely play a role. And then also selecting materials. I mean, there's 1,001 types of materials out there, and so while early on you might think one material you might want in the project, knowing that, comparing it to the other ones out there, and doing cost analysis between the two, and making sure that we're selecting the right materials for what the project allows, and what's best for the client's desires. I think another one is definitely having constructible details. So that's kind of getting into the drawings a little bit more. Being able to, really, I just hone in and allow your drawings to speak for themselves, and the details speak for themselves. Because at the end of the day, we're passing off a set of drawings for, a contractor to read and build off of. And so if those aren't legible, accurate, and just, downright not constructible, it makes it hard to do their job. So I think those are a couple. Yeah,
those are good. Ones. How much do you feel you have to educate the client or the person who's building?
I think it varies. Some have done their homework.
Okay.
Some think they know until they start asking questions, or you kind of get into the weeds of it. And so there is some educating that goes along with it. But that's what we enjoy. We want to help our clients understand and learn their building, and not just just kind of sit on the sidelines and it's our project, and then just handing it over to them. It's like, ultimately it's their building, their project, their environment. So we want to bring them alongside and make sure that they understand the reasons for what we're designing, how we're doing it. No, I agree. I think from the contractor side, we find ourselves a lot of times. I've realized that education pieces is one of the biggest. I call it a hurdle, but I also think it's an opportunity. It's a hurdle because they have preconceived ideas, or they don't know, and so immediately for us, obviously metal buildings, it's not even on their radar, and so it's an opportunity for us to either work through some of those bad raps or bad experiences or things that they always thought, well, this is why I didn't think this was an option, to kind of work them through the process of, well, actually, this is an opportunity here. This is something that you can achieve, and then opening the door with the architects to kind of expand and give them something that maybe they didn't realize was even possible or workable. Obviously, budget, is always going to be a restraint on some things, but that element is a fun process with clients to. Obviously you're providing, same with you guys, you're providing them, we call it a dream building, or their business, or something that's going to help them achieve their dreams. And we both play a role in helping them achieve those. And at the end of the day, you want to hand them off the best product, the best facility, drawings, design for them to succeed. And I think that's the part that I don't think people realize in the construction, as well as you guys,
taking something that was just an idea or concept to seeing it actually fulfilled is a cool process.
Right.
And it's fun to walk. I mean, obviously, those two extremes, there's a lot of things that happen in between there.
Yep.
And there's a lot of conversations, and there's a lot of disagreement, and there's a lot of headaches, and there's a lot of ups and downs. But when you work with professional companies and work with groups that collaborate and communicate together, you know, that journey and that process, you do get to an end result that is a cool product for, I call it a product, but a building or a facility or whatever they're trying to achieve is interesting in that. Do you guys find most of your processes either working with a general contractor first or with a client initially? Is that you have one or the other that you see more of?
That I'm not really, too sure about. I think I see ourselves more working with contractors.
Where they're bringing in a project.
Where they're bringing
already,
in a project. And so then, then obviously kind of contracted by them. And then we'll bring on all of our, kind of consultants and stuff under us. So, but we still do, a fair amount of projects that are straight
direct to the owner.
Directly to the owner. And so, and we're, so.
That's awesome. What do you think of zebra cakes?
They're good. I mean, it's always a classic. It's just.
See, I never was a fan of those.
Really?
I think it's too waxy of a outer shell, but it's okay. It's okay. Next is probably
I think it's pretty
go-to.
high up there for me.
Is it? Yeah. I know a lot of people that are, 100% on the zebra cakes and the Christmas tree cakes. They're like the number one thing. Cosmic brownies are one that I loved as a kid, and this is a good one that I've always enjoyed. And they seem way smaller than they were.
Yeah, they really do.
when I was a kid. I remember them being a lot bigger. But with this next question here, as we jump in the Cosmic Brownie, beyond kind of the aesthetics and the functionality of a building, how do you guys at Create measure the success of a project? It'd just be interesting to hear your guys's, maybe even some of your guys' core values or convictions of how you see a successful. Obviously, a building completed is a successful project, but
no
beyond
change
that,
orders, no RFIs.
Nothing.
I mean, I think getting down to it, a successful project for us, we're happy when ultimately the client is happy. I mean, I really think that's kind of the main point of what we're doing. I mean, our service is for the client, and so it's we never want to get into a project where we're just kind of doing the design to do design because they need us to stamp the drawings. That's never our end goal. And so and our hopes are when at the end of a project, hopefully that client loves the design, and we we make a lasting relationship, and hopefully that goes along with the project team members, consultants that we worked with, and so hoping that leads to more connections in the future with them, more projects that we get to work with them because the project was so successful and the client loved it, and so I think that's kind of the main point for us.
I know maybe this is similar. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So I grew up I shouldn't say grew up. I started my career in marketing at an agency, and we did anything from logos to brochures and letterhead and website design, and everything that under the sun, And so we got a lot of times a business that was either starting up or a medium-sized business that was looking to rebrand.
Sure.
And you would meet with them, and they would lay out kind of their idea of like, well, we need a new logo, or we need a logo. And you don't have to answer this question if it's the direction that I'm going to talk about. Really quickly whether or not they know exactly what they want, and they just want you to design it and draw it exactly the way they want.
Yep.
Or are they going to allow you and myself, the creative, to go, here's kind of the idea, the concept. I want your creative energy and ideas to run with it. obviously there's communication and back and forth, but as a designer, I always love the ability to be like, you have a blank slate. This is kind of the main core things. You do your thing.
Right.
And it was always hard to have someone who comes in and they're like, I want a red box here. I want it angled here. I want this, serif font here.
Yep.
And you're just like, okay,
Yep.
we
can do that.
I think the element, is having the ability to, do what you're passionate about. Second, what you're good at. To have that clean slate. I would assume it's very similar to have that ability to have a client come in or a contractor and say, here's what here are the things, do your thing, come up with an idea. I would assume it's similar. You enjoy that is obviously more from a designer side of things. You want to have that ability to create something. And then obviously your goal is to wow them. That's what you want that client to be like, wow, I never, that's way beyond I ever expected. And so I think it's interesting when you're in the kind of creative space, what was enjoyable to work with.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely do come across those clients that, it's like, no, I just want this 50 by 50 box.
Yeah.
I don't want anything crazy. I just want, 4 walls and a roof and put a door on it.
But you could no. And don't get me wrong, like those pay the business. That's a job.
Yeah, I mean,
it's still
again, there's nothing wrong with it.
No.
I mean, there can still be ways that we, can still flex our creative muscles.
Yep.
In ways that still align with what that client is looking for. But yeah, then there are the opportunities where you get to where you have the clients that they're like, we know we want this edition, we need this edition, but we just can't imagine it. And then obviously that's where we go crazy because that's what we went to school for, and ultimately why we're in this industry. Yeah, to help imagine that. Yeah, get that.
And that's what we be the same boat where we love. Where you have a problem or you need a solution, we love to come in as a construction company and go, we can tackle this. We get excited about your, obstacles or problems how do I do this? Because I think that's where companies shine, where it's like, okay, this is really what you bring to the table. This is a unique thing. And I think most people understand that, obviously, from the agency world, those who wanted you to design exactly what they wanted, you did it. It never was on your portfolio or your, list, but you do have a lot of those that you can kind of be the creative, opportunity to really maximize what you can do. And that usually is, the client is always going to be impressed with that. You guys, obviously, as architects, you kind of are in that almost like a moderator role, aren't you? When you're working with a client, looking out for them and working with a contractor, you kind of have to, what's that like?
It can be interesting at times. But I mean, it's ultimately the spot that we get put in is just making sure we're all, rowing in the same direction. The communication is there, making sure everyone knows what's going on. The client knows, why the contractor and us are having this conversation and how we're solving it. And because then ultimately, it comes back to if the contractor has a question, we can be owner representative, but you also don't want to, just speak for them because ultimately you may not know exactly what they're looking for. So it's having that open, clear, transparent communication level with both parties. And
as a project manager, you're probably in that seat quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. A lot of communication back and forth, a lot of emails, phone calls. But it's exciting because you get to be a part of that solution process. No,
that's really cool. That's exciting. What do you think of the Cosmic?
Love them.
Remember? Yeah, I do too. I do too.
It's just.
I held back. I could probably finish the entire thing right there. It is really good.
Absolutely exciting.
Well, snack number 4 here is honey buns. Oh. And I was telling before camera, I know a guy on YouTube that these are a lot smaller too than I remember. Wow.
No, they definitely shrunk.
Yeah, times are tough. Little Debbie. He wraps these in bacon and then throws them on his Traeger smoker and cooks them till they're crispy.
Yeah.
I've always thought it'd be interesting to see a little bacon and a little sweetness here.
I have my own smoker, but I have a buddy who smokes quite often, so I might have to tell him about that. And
do you have a pellet smoker?
Yes, I have a pit boss.
Easy bake oven. You mean?
Yeah.
I never was a huge fan of these. They're okay. You know, I think warm, these would be probably amazing.
Warm, yeah.
Bacon wrapped,
I'm just
probably really good too.
Yeah.
With this next question here, you know, you guys over at Create, I think you guys have stated this, that a building is an extension, and we've kind of hit a little bit of this, and maybe it's repetitive here, but you guys talk about this as the building is an extension of your client's story and values. Can you maybe explain that, or maybe even share some examples of where that played out and what that looks like?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think the you know, architecture is it should speak to people. That's ultimately you know, what we're trying to do at Create. You know, create spaces for the client that will help. Gosh, I'm having a blank. You know, have their building, their space express who they are, what they prioritize, and how they, you know, like to have people experience their spaces or their environment. I mean, I think an example would be, you know, if someone values transparency and collaboration. I mean, you know, you're probably looking at having open interior layout where people can kind of collaborate and kind of work together. They're all integrated and not kind of siloing off into their own offices. And then how you can, you know, then you kind of get into like circulation. How can we help create a circulation throughout the building where we're creating, you know, interactions that people aren't necessarily thinking about. You know, how can you
kind of almost like organically allow the crossover and connection without them,
right? And not so it's maybe not necessarily a specific space, but how can you connect those spaces and move people throughout an environment or a building to kind of create those interactions if that's, you know, the client.
So you guys obviously have to do some, like, I call it onboarding, or some opportunity, almost like drawing this out of, because I mean, maybe some clients understand this or already kind of have this, but I would assume some don't really know. Maybe they know what they want or what they want created. I mean, how do you draw that out, or how do you capture that information with a client?
I mean, a lot of the times I think our clients come with kind of already what they are looking for, what they think they need. Space-wise, there are elements that, you know, we tend to bring forth that are kind of required or we think is necessary.
Because I know, I mean, this is I don't know if it's a trend. I don't want to use the word trend as kind of a derogatory, but there's a trend of kind of a lot of workplaces are kind of creating these places where people have fun, and there's game areas and there's arcades. Yeah. You know, what does that look like? I mean, is that something you guys have designed into spaces before?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think people, you know, I think we're getting to a point where, you know, people don't want to just sit down, go to work, and then leave. You know, they want to love their job. Yeah. And so I think that those entertainment areas help. I mean, we're looking at a new office for ourselves, and we're looking at our conference room table being a ping pong table. Yeah. Serve as both. So it's, you know, that's how we are as a company. Yeah. We want to be,
which I will say, designing your own stuff is like the worst scenario. Because it's like we did it as like when I worked at an agency, like design your own website. It's like you have so many things you want to do. You can be like your worst client almost. But I love the idea, that concept though, of like the table, the ping pong.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're professional. We want to be professional as we can, but we also want to bring, you know, a fun aspect.
Yeah. Well, I think in the line of work, you want creativity to be, you know, stoked and kind of brought to the forefront. And so
no one wants to work with a stale architect who just, Yep. So
I was talking to someone recently who does a lot of interior designing, and her comment is she does a lot of interior design for some commercial companies. And her research and she's seen a trend, and maybe you guys can speak to this, is people kind of coming out of COVID who were working at home, working remotely. Now companies are bringing, more and more back into the office.
Sure.
And maybe it's not so much for South Dakota, and so a lot of these places are redesigning their offices to have a feel of home, because people were so used to working at home.
Sure.
With the color palettes and the style and the feel and the sense of kind of, conversations at a couch or around a kitchen table. And she's seen that kind of change where offices are now kind of redesigning and remodeling collaborative spaces to kind of resemble that kind of. And so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
kind of similar to what you just talked about, where
Right.
creating these experiences for their employees and even clients that maybe come into their offices to have that feeling, whether
For
it's
sure.
structural flow or setup or design within. I thought that was interesting perspective.
Yeah, I think that's definitely. I haven't seen that here.
Yep.
I guess recently in South Dakota or in the Sioux Falls area. But it makes sense times change.
Yeah.
Things, the way you work, lifestyle, all that changes. And so, I think it makes sense from when there's a 3-year period of people working from home and you get so accustomed to that. It's like, hey, how do we, and kudos to those
asking
employers,
that question. Yeah. Even to approach that or even consider that is
right,
interesting.
to consider that and actually implement that. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always enjoyed, working at companies that approach their office space with, similar to what you're talking about, to how can we create an experience and a place here, obviously, that you do your work, we get that, but also to fuel the core values and some of the things that you believe in as a company. Are you creating that as experiences?
Right.
I think is interesting, and especially goes into design of a building or location of a building or flow of offices. It all goes into that I would never think of.
Right.
But it's interesting that that's kind of your guys' approach, is helping them maximize and realize what they're trying to create, is interesting.
Yeah. And that's, kind of going back to, what we're doing. We're a still fairly new company, just a little over a year old. And so we're all still working from home. Because it just made sense at the time. But now, obviously, looking at trying to get into a building, we're really wanting to get back into like a more collaborative space where, I don't have to ask if someone's available over Teams. I can just lean over and ask questions or catch someone up on where we're at on the project. And so, and I think, we like that because that's how it was in college. But to be able to bounce, the creative ideas off of one another.
Yeah, it's a little tougher to jump on a Teams call.
Yeah.
Schedule. I'm available in an hour.
Right.
You can, as a creative myself, it's like you got to kind of capture lightning in a bottle in a moment when you're thinking this, and to have someone within the space to be able to, hey, what about this? This is a huge part of it. Yeah, I agree.
It's still definitely easy to some point, but we as a firm, just want to get back to that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Group collaborative.
Be exciting to hear and see where you guys land and what it looks like.
It is a very exciting time.
Well, snack 5 here. We have 2 more questions, 2 more snacks. This is probably the last 2 are probably the most iconic, I think, with Little Debbie. And the first one is the oatmeal cream pies. And I've heard these also are better warmed up.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever had them.
I haven't either. And I don't have a microwave handy, so we'll get it lukewarm here. But what's kind of your guys' approach to ideal communication structure, frequency that you need from a general contractor like ourselves during the execution phases, and to ensure that design vision is being maintained? Like, as a project manager, you're probably constantly involved in this.
Right. Excuse me. Yeah, I think, the ideal level of communication, regular, consistent, especially during the execution phase where, the contractor's obviously a lot more hands-on and things are happening.
Quick
and,
moving. Yeah.
Quick. I, would personally love, end of the week kind of catch up,
Oh, yeah.
where did you guys get, this week? Because I think also just, a weekly or maybe bi-weekly catch up or something like that can also just help make sure we have early, like, issues are caught early. And because if you're only meeting once a month, every other month, or maybe
so much
bigger projects, if they're lasting up to a year long, and you're only meeting every other month or something like that, issues we don't know about issues until they get brought up. And so I just feel like if the more, and it can be, a quick phone call or, some quick 15-minute meeting.
Do you guys try to establish that from your perspective or expectation when you meet with a contractor?
Yeah, I think we try and make sure that, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
There haven't been many contractors or none that really even come to mind that, don't want to meet.
Don't want that, yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy. But
you guys kind of drive the ship then on the communication piece? I mean, I know there's probably both ways once certain phases.
Yeah. I mean, in the design phase, it's definitely probably more us because we're the one obviously actively designing it, and we are having questions come up. But then in the CA portion or when they're constructing it, I mean, it's definitely then kind of reversal.
Yep.
We're kind of there to assist.
Okay. Yeah.
And answer questions that something that was unforeseen may pop up during construction, and so we want to be as available and responsive as we can.
Yeah.
To be able make sure we get an answer to them as quick as possible, and just keep the project moving along.
Yeah. No, it's good. Well, last one here, Swiss rolls. What do you think of the oatmeal?
I mean, again, love them.
Yeah. OG.
Yeah.
Warmer, I think, would be pretty. I mean, just slightly warm would be interesting.
I think
maybe an afternoon.
Yeah. I think I'm guilty of probably like taking down 3 or 4 of those.
Oh yeah.
They're too easy.
I just remember as a kid coming home from school and grabbing one of these.
Oh yeah.
Loving life.
Yep.
This also was a staple at school lunch.
Yep.
These were great bargaining to trade other people for. But the Swiss roll here is our last question. And this is a good one because it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on this. If you could promise a client only 3 non-negotiable elements for every project, what would those 3 be?
Yeah. The guarantees, the promises, they can get you. But no, in all seriousness, I think, we want to promise that, we'll be as clear, transparent. We want to be as clear and transparent as possible, communication-wise, because ultimately, again, it's, at the end of the day, it's their project or it's their building, their piece, and so we want to make sure we're hearing out the client, understanding what they want, what they don't want, and then also relaying that to consultants, contractors, and just making sure that we're all on the same page, working towards the same end goal. So having that clear communication, I think, is huge, and something that we always want to make sure that we have and we don't lose.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't want to go a week or 2 without replying to emails and stuff, and then people start wondering, what the heck's going on over there. I think another big one is we want to make sure, we're giving thoughtful, purpose-driven design or solutions. We definitely don't want to be the company that's just give you the quick and easy answer or solution. We want to make sure that we're thorough, thoughtful. We've gone through a couple different ideas and really make sure that this is we think is the best solution, and whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think another one, and this kind of more so falls on me because it's a little bit more of my day-to-day job, but getting back to that technical accuracy. I mean, can't have a drawing set that's has half dimensions and materials not called out, because that's obviously just going to create issues down the road. And so it's just we want to be, that's what we're here for. We're here to design the building, be as technical and accurate as we can to make sure the process is smooth. The building, gets built accurately. It's, code compliant.
Yeah.
All those fun things.
Yeah.
But,
No, I think that's a big one that's probably overlooked and not probably recognized of having technical drawings, because it just sets everybody up down the line to be successful. And I think it's something that's not recognized or called out that much. And so I think those three are really, really good ones. So another classic Swiss roll here. I think
I gotta take a second bite.
I think it's up there of how good it is.
Yep.
So it's 6 snacks here. I guess give me your favorite to your last one.
Start with my favorite.
Yeah.
Think I'm gonna go Cosmic Brownie.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have to. Cosmic Brownie. I have a specific memory.
Oh yeah.
Like I can remember where I was. Just it's the only snack that I have a specific memory.
Yep.
Connected to. And then I think probably Swiss rolls.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Cosmic Brownie, Swiss rolls. I'm gonna go oatmeal cream pie.
Okay.
Solely from the fact that these zebra cakes are not the Christmas ones.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
If they're the Christmas ones,
they'd be above
would
the
above
oatmeal. Okay.
And then Nutty Buddy, and then Honey Buns.
Okay. It's good one. I think I would line up Swiss rolls first, Cosmic, Nutty Buddy, oatmeal, Honey Buns, and zebra cake sauce. It is. It's just so waxy. It's. I mean, I'm sure none of these are great ingredients or pure of anything, but these are good classic snacks here, and I appreciate you coming on here and talking. And thanks so much for being part of the Snackdown.
It was awesome. I had a great time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.